Hi guys, this is Jackie Cooper with JCooperTravels, and today I have a real treat for us. I happen to love the music genre, and I also love hip hop. And as many of you know, I'm in the travel space, but I'm also a teacher. And one of the things that I've done a few years back is I ended up participating in a class that helped me learn more about hip hop and how to incorporate that into teaching reading. And I had a lot of fun, and my kids had a lot of fun as well. And today I have the pleasure to have Bakes here. And I came across him on my LinkedIn platform, and I've been super impressed with both what he's done in his life as well as the messages in his music. So that's why I'm really excited to share everything that we're going to talk about today. So hi, how are you? Thank you so much for joining today. How's it going?
I'm good. Thanks, Jackie. Hi.
So tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got involved, because I know it hasn't always been a straight path. And one of the things that I love about this podcast is that we're learning about everyone's story to inspire others to reach for their dreams, because sometimes where we start is not where we end up. And as you and I have talked about, it's all about the journey and about what we learn as we go. So I'm going to stop talking for a second. I'm going to let you tell your story because it's really cool.
For sure. Well, I'm originally from the Bay Area, like 45 minutes east of San Francisco. And I grew up there and went to high school and was always like loving music. I was even like, actually, I was in band in like 7th and 8th grade. Back in middle school, I was like playing saxophone. So that was my first like intro to like making music, but I didn't stick with it. But I was always like a hip hop kid. And then I moved down to San Diego to go to college. So I went to SDSU and still wasn't doing music like professionally. I was just kind of like getting into it, kind of started recording in the dorm rooms and like that kind of thing. And then I graduated and decided to pursue a career in the music industry in general, whether that was going to be as an artist or as an artist manager or a A&R at a record label, something like that. But I've just been working the past like 9 years on my artistry and kind of just making strides, learning about the business, finding myself as an artist, and just becoming an established professional musician, you know, a vocal artist in the hip hop space. And it's really been like progression, but the last 2-3 years, I'd say it's really been going up, especially like the last year. It's really been like a lot of big things come to fruition. So I'm really excited about what's coming up, especially with all the music I have ready to release the rest of the year and stuff I already have in the can, like videos that I've shot that I'm kind of just getting the rollout ready for. And yeah, like you said, I have like a lot of messages I want to bring across, and especially where I'm trying to go with it. Really like positive, inspirational, motivational vibes, I think.
So why don't we take a look, it's only a few minutes long, at one of your releases, and then we'll talk more about your journey and how you got here, because I really enjoyed this, and there's a lot of really great messages in here. So let's go ahead and have a listen. Enjoy, everyone.
I'm destined for greatness. Used to be trapped in the matrix. Now I'm tapped in with the ancients. More about action than statements. I'm destined for greatness. People still out here testing my patience. Had to disconnect where there's less integration. Gotta meditate on how the message will make it. Yeah, false narratives, they spread in hatred. The institutions have been infiltrated. KKK up in the police force. Protests turned to riots like peace wars. Too woke for the media lies. You don't see who owns who, they deceiving the ties. And I seen it, they try with what they feed in your mind. Think I'm being too kind, this shit is evil, and I for one have had enough tyranny. Tears streaming down the faces of mothers and brothers losing loved ones. It's clear to me the real villain, and I know how to get some real healing. Let's start with the information we teach to our children. School curriculum inaccurate, rewrite the books. Education system set up by a bunch of crooks. Go to school, but it's not the things that really help you. How about identify the things that make you special? I'm destined for greatness. Used to be trapped in the matrix. Now I'm tapped in with the ancients. More about action than statements. I'm destined for greatness. People still out here testing my patience. Had to disconnect where there's less integration. Gotta meditate on how the message will make it. Develop talents instead of a cookie cutter class. Discuss the truth, not misinformation from the past. Teach the real stories about our civilizations. How they lie about the age of structures really ancient. Why we got pyramids all over the world. And why the news always in a perpetual swirl. The nation was founded by masons. Deep state, shadow government running it. Yeah, that's what we chasing. Time to really show the people the truth. They gon' have to see it first before they know it's the proof. Excuse me if I sound scatterbrained, but it's just the fact that it's a whole lot of matter to retain. Plant the seed, but which way you want it to grow. People scared to know the truth, I thought you wanted to know. Oh, tapping into a greater state of mind. I'ma go and get my own, I ain't finna wait in line. Cause I'm destined for greatness. Used to be trapped in the matrix. Now I'm tapped in with the ancients. More about action than statements. I'm destined for greatness. People still out here testing my patience. Had to disconnect where there's less integration. Gotta meditate on how the message will make it.
That was great. I mean, what I really loved about it is the fact that it has so many videos and messages that you can decide, you know, it's like, it was so deep. I mean,
like
there's so many layers to it.
For sure, yeah, definitely. I'm glad that like you see that. I was trying to like keep it like talking points where like I didn't go too in depth to any one thing, but I was just like, let me lay out some things that I feel like we don't talk about, people as a whole, without being too like, this is what it is and you guys have, everyone's wrong, this is the truth. It's like, that's divisive. So I was like, how about in a unifying way with a cool message? Kind of the underlying message is like, so I'm saying I feel like I'm destined for greatness because I'm tapping into a pure place where it's not, this isn't just me and my ego, like, look at me, I'm cool, I'm a rapper, look at me. It's really like, if I'm gonna do this, my purpose is, let me drop some knowledge or at least present some different viewpoints to people in a positive way. Like, I think positivity is like the overarching thing I'm trying to go for.
Well, I know that just like when, if you read a book and you decipher it with music, there's many different messages in it. I mean, you talked about tapping into the ancients, you talked about meditation, you talked about systems, you talked about education, you talked about corruption, you talked about so many different layers, which opens up different conversations that whether it's young adults or adults, it doesn't matter the age, it, you know, when people look at music, it provides the ability to keep the conversation going and hopefully make changes for the better. And also just kind of question, well, what am I doing? Or how can I incorporate this? Or what can I learn from this? So that's why I like your music, because there's so many things going. And you and I talked about the fact that hip hop and different genres, you really have to have a lot of education and a lot of knowledge in order to weave it all into your song, because you know, it's not simple. And for my students, when we did hip hop, we had to look at both the structure, but then what is the overall message we wanted to convey, and what are the words, what's the beat? You know, there were so many different pieces to this.
There's tons of moving parts.
Yeah.
I consider all of them, and I feel like I've become a master of craft over the years, but all of those things have been things I've worked on, like the poetic side of it, there's definitely a poetic structure, even if you just look at the way that there's like the last, not only the last word rhymes, but the whole last phrase will rhyme. And then you have like sub rhymes in between it sandwiched in. So, and you know, I really like, I look at it like a puzzle almost, and really more like a flow. Like it's really like a flow state that I get into, I think. So it kind of spills out, but it's like, I'm combining, truthfully, I feel like I'm combining like the left and right side of my brain, because there's like the analytical side where I've learned a ton of things from life experience and knowledge, and I learn both ways. Like I read a lot, I listen to a lot of podcasts and people that I admire, but then I've also lived life, and I'm currently manifesting my dream, and I've like made it this far, which is already incredible in my opinion, and like I'm not stopping anytime soon. So those, it's like the creative and the actual literary part, I feel like I just kind of combine it. So yeah, you know, it's just a lot of moving parts. It's music at the end of the day. It's like it's taking poetry, but it's expanded poetry, because it's 3 minutes is a long time to put a lot of words to, especially with my style. I'm not really singing extending words out. There's a lot of syllables in there, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to remember.
Yeah, but that's always been my strong suit. Like my mom actually was a guitar player, acoustic guitar player, and a singer. She's like very talented, but me, I'm not a singer. I've tried it. I can do melodies and like harmonize, like do my thing, but my strong suit forever, and as I perfected it, has been like just rapping. Like I don't know what it is, the way my vocal cords are, but that's just my strength, you know. So I really just doubled down on that, and then really I'm applying my wisdom and my knowledge, and I feel like I want to use my platform for good, not for, you know, there's plenty of people that can make songs that you can like, you know, party to and have drinks to and all that stuff, and I can do that with positive content as well, but I just feel like I'm so focused on my legacy at this point. Like as a grown man, it's like, if I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna make a career out of it, what do I want to be remembered for? Like I want people to go back and listen to my music like he was ahead of his time, really giving us like gems and knowledge from a pure intentioned place, you know? That's just kind of how I'm approaching it.
Well, what I love about that is it will let you reach and guide more young people in a way that, like you said, is positive. And right now there's plenty of negativity that, you know, again, we all get exposed to. So it's refreshing when there's something that's positive. So
I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So would you like to talk about, are you going, I know we have COVID, but are you going on tour? What's in your future?
So right now there's no live music at all until 2021, maybe even mid 2021. Like we have to kind of see. So that's no concerts, no festivals, no stages with no crowds, right? So this is a time where I'm just really focusing on building my audience and my fan base and growing my brand. But it's really kind of like serendipitous the way this whole year turned out. Like the way the whole pandemic thing planned out. For some people, it was like the worst thing ever. But for me, especially because of my mindset and where I was going, it kind of was like a huge blessing in disguise for me, because I've been a full-time artist since March, as far as like not having to worry about any extraneous external like, you know, commitments elsewhere. I'm just like focusing on my music, and on top of that, I've just really honed in on myself as a person over the past year, and really like my purpose for even being here on earth in this life, let alone making music, which is such a powerful, it's basically like magic, you know. You can really get messages across to people in ways that speeches can't. It resonates with people. So I feel like that's super powerful, and it's almost a responsibility now that I have the knowledge of what I'm capable of doing. It would be irresponsible for me to like not reflect myself, because if you're going to make music, it should be a reflection of who you are, right? I feel like I'm a pretty smart dude. I'm like pretty wise. I'm positive. Like I'm a nice person. You know, I'm pretty balanced. Everyone has like their sides, but I feel like I want it to be a reflection of me. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. And so I feel like, so I basically just released what we just watched was that song Greatness. That was one song out of a 3-song project, a little EP that just came out. And the 2 other songs on it are kind of in the same vein, like just super a bit different topics, but it's really like focused on how I've gotten here, manifesting it, and then my purpose, really like why am I doing this? And just asking myself the questions almost, you know, like asking myself and then answering myself. And the music I have coming up is kind of in the same vein. I have a full-length album that's I'm gearing to release in like September, October. It's 14 songs, so it's like a full-length album, and it's called. Actually, I can't give you the album title yet because I haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
But
Well, you got to promise me something. You'll come back on the podcast and we'll do a follow-up when you release it.
for sure, I got you. Yeah, and so that project is really more like I've always tried to give people me in my music, and it's like in bits and pieces, but I just don't ever think I got the thoughts all the way across. And so this album, I feel like if you listen to it start to finish, you're gonna really at least start to get a grasp of like who I am as a person and as an artist, because there's like a lot of my viewpoints, opinions, spiritual beliefs in like myself, and I believe in energy and like a lot of laws of the universe that don't really get talked about in hip hop, I feel like, which is why I kind of feel like I have a unique lane, because I feel like I kind of speak for a whole new audience that hasn't really been represented in hip hop, where it's like a real rapper that has all the elements of like your favorite rappers, but the actual content is just on another level as far as like spiritual, intuitive, real world knowledge, knowledge of self, and knowledge of life as I'm learning it, you know. I feel like I have a different take on it because of my life journey, you know, like I've done the whole like where I've grown up in between the Bay Area and San Diego, plus going to college, and then plus the last years of my life where I've like had to work a regular job while pursuing an artist career, which a lot of artists don't like to talk about that because it's like you always want to put your best foot forward and show the glamorous side, but you know, it takes a while to start making money as an artist. And so it's like you need a job because you got to pay for things plus invest in yourself. So that's been my journey. I don't really like promote it, but I always love to talk about it because as an independent artist, like I'm fully independent. Like there's a difference between being signed to a record label and being an independent artist and being an unsigned artist. People think that just because you're not signed, you're independent, but that's not the case. In order to be an independent artist, you need to be doing everything that a record label would do for you, be doing that for yourself.
Right.
And if you're not doing all of that for yourself, then you're just an unsigned artist, sometimes even a hobbyist. Like you love it, it's your passion, but you're not trying to make it a viable career, taking all the steps to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I consider myself a fully independent artist. I handle all my own business, my back end. It's a ton of work, but like I don't love doing it, that part, but I love the fact that I know how to do it. And when I can have a team that I can hire and a manager that, you know, is next level, that can get me more connections in the industry, I can actually check people and make sure they're doing their job and no one's going to screw me over. I've built myself into a very smart artist, which I'm proud of, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think that's really wise because sometimes individuals, we hand over our power to someone else and we're not knowledgeable about it. So this way you are able to be definitely equal and a co-partner whenever you end up having a manager and still in charge of your own career because it's all about you.
Right. Yeah. And so I think by the time after I drop that album, and then I'm actually already working on like the follow up for that. I've been working on music so heavy this year because I've been kind of finding my stride of like where I want to go with it. I definitely know in my heart and my soul that there will be big shows and festivals and touring in the future. Um, because like I actually consider myself kind of a new artist right now. Like I have music, I've been putting out music for years. I didn't change my name or anything like that, but I've just I had a lot of revelations and like a just like I've been saying, kind of like an awakening where it's like I'm not trying to make any music that doesn't fulfill me or really contribute to people in a positive way. So it's like I've literally been on the radio. I've performed in front of thousands of people in these huge venues and nightclubs, and that's an experience that you can't really describe. It's like that was crazy, but the music itself doesn't fulfill me when the subject content isn't there. And it's like I realized like I make some of my biggest songs are songs that parents can't really play, like they don't want their kids to listen to it. My mom is proud of me, but she can't really show her friends the music I'm making because it's like, you know, not appropriate. And you know, there's definitely, I get it. There's like generation gaps between like, there's like where I'm at, and there's like younger and there's older, and there's going to be, because music changes and people in different stages of their life are going to gravitate to different things. But I'm really proud of like what we just watched. I've had multiple people across the age spectrum tell me that like they really like it, which is actually a huge accomplishment for me because it's always been a disconnect. One age group likes it, the other one doesn't like it for whatever reasons. Actually, it's obvious reasons, but I just feel like I'm at a good place where I can just be balanced with it. And so I'm really excited to do shows when live music opens back up. And when I go on tour, it'll be my first tour. I haven't officially been on tour yet. I've just performed all over San Diego and a couple out of town gigs. But like when I do, it's just gonna be authentically me, and like the show will be like what I want it to be like, not just trying to be. It's always been I'm just trying to get on, you know, because it's so hard to get on as an artist. But I just had to kind of get out of my own way and really just let the music, like if I'm making the music I'm supposed to make, I feel like everything will line up.
I
So
agree.
that's just where I'm at with it.
I definitely agree. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I know we're going to do follow-up podcasts, especially when you release your album. Everyone, there's information on top of the podcast, information on top of the YouTube channel. I'll have contact, especially if you're driving right now and if you want to make sure to reach out to listen to more music. So don't fret, just know, go to my podcast or my YouTube channel, JCooperTravels, and you'll be able to see the connection. Thank you so much for being on today and for sharing your great music. I know, you know, this is just the start of many great things for you.
For sure. I appreciate it, Jackie. I mean, I could like literally, I feel like I could talk for hours because it's like I could go so in depth about everything I've done to get to this point. But yeah, I'd love to come back on and we can just keep it going because I definitely have some things I want to share. So
yeah, for sure. I would love it because like you said, every song is a different part of you. So every song is a different part of your story. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
thank you.
Cool.
All
for
right.
Sure. I appreciate it.
Have a great day, guys. Listen, drive safe, listen carefully, and be sure to subscribe.